Powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Hey, baseball fans, the game is over. Welcome to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Bet above the rest. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Milwaukee. After the last pitch, you've made the switch for 21 seasons. We'll hear from the manager, the players, and the highlights from the game. It's time to talk about the game and the team with Tim Allen and Tommy Wortz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
This is absolutely brutal. It is a final in Boston, the game, the series, and the road trip. Not necessarily the Brewers team, brutal. I'm talking about what just occurred literally 15 seconds ago. Half can of Mountain Dew spills all over my console and my desk and all over some electronics. Mountain Dew on top of it. It couldn't be just water or coffee.
And it's wasted. Now you don't get it anymore.
Oh, my gosh. Hey, welcome in, everybody. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tommy Wortz, Tim Allen, off to a great start.
I didn't want to start laughing after the worst Brewer game of the season. Let's call it. Let's call it that right now.
Yep.
But, you always just bring a smile to my face, Tim Allen, even in your hardships.
Jeez.
I find some joy. So
well, yes, and you're falling right into line with all the rest of my colleagues the last 21 years on this show. Any pain and discomfort to Tim is other people's pleasure.
Oh, gosh. I don't mean it to sound as bad as you just made it, but that's exactly what it is.
Hold on. Now, you got a cover here. I'm going under my desk. I know there's a roll of paper towels somewhere around.
All right. Well,
so hang on.
You mosey around
Those
for that.
Those of you watching on YouTube, hang on.
Tim Allen will be right back after he cleans up his Mountain Dew. Mountain, don't do that ever again, Tim. Brewers and Red Sox. Yes, Tim Allen giving us the overview there. The final from Boston, 5. I didn't think he'd be making noises during it either.
Okay.
5-0.
See? Yes. One may wonder, why do you keep these underneath your desk?
Because it's not the first time you spilled Mountain Dew.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Oh, my gosh.
Wow.
5-0, the final from Boston. A pretty poor showing from the Milwaukee Brewers. Just 4 hits in the contest. Shane Drowan making his big league debut. 2 2/3, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and it was very evident in this game that Shane Drowan did not have it early. The number, I want to go double check and verify it from Kurt Hogue.
28 of 63 pitches were strikes.
28 of 63. I don't know what the percent of that is. Looking at it, that's
it's
40.
It's bad.
44% of his pitches were strikes today, Tim Allen, and that was easily the biggest problem on the day for the Brewers.
Well, and the worst in franchise history.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah, it was not great.
Now, to be fair, early on in the game, he was getting squeezed.
He was getting squeezed. He was a little bit.
He was. But that doesn't account for.
What does that change? 10 pitches, maybe?
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe.
Like
if
we go that hard, so then it was of 63. That puts him up to 60%. That's still way too low.
Yeah.
And that's being generous with a nice number like 10.
However, when you have 4 hits and no runs, that's what this comes to. I mean, they weren't even. Really, he had 2 legitimate shots, I think, in this entire game offensively to get something going. This tells you last couple of games, they've only scored 2 runs total in the last 2 games. They've fallen the series. It strikes me that Wilson Contreras starts his stuff on Monday and the Brewers go south.
Yes. From the 414, it says right here, boy, the last 2 games sure looked like postseason ball. You face the number 1 and the 2 starters from a big market team and do nothing. They can win 90-plus games, but they are dead come postseason again, it says there. I don't know if we can quite say that this is going to happen in October today.
No,
but he does bring up a point that, yeah, Tim, I mean, the offense, this is a roster that some people have doubted, that you and us you and I can call sneaky and scrappy and gritty whenever we want to. But yeah, Crochet and Gray come out. This was Sonny Gray's 21st time pitching against the Milwaukee Brewers. He pitched 4 times against this team last year. He has plenty of familiarity with this roster and this lineup, and he sure showed it today as well. Sonny Gray's final line today as he gets the victory for Boston. 6 1/3, just 3 hits, 2 walks, only 2 strikeouts. There just wasn't a whole lot of hard contact, Tim.
No, not at all. And this really, it screams, yes, the offense has been good through 10 games. I think 9 you could say. And to be really fair, 8 of the 12 games, this offense has been really good.
Really good.
Okay, so the other 4, however, it screamed at me, especially today, that Jackson Churio, need to get him back. Andrew Vaughn, got to have him back. Not necessarily, Tommy, for what they can provide, but it puts other guys back in their roles.
Sure, yeah, I get that.
And it may put other guys back in Nashville.
Yeah,
instead of in a starting lineup.
Yeah, that's also very fair. The outfield will thin out once Churio comes back, which again, hopeful that could be near the end of this month, maybe middle of this month is something that people have brought up.
I'd say within 2 weeks.
And then Andrew Vaughn, you're looking at probably still another month at least without him. Scotty Tiffany comments in, awful series, weird throwaway game lineup yesterday, and an ice cold bullpen and bats today. These are games we want to put in the W column, bigger and tougher opponents to come during this.
Well, maybe they do a little bit better if they didn't make a trade today. Stuart Baroa was traded.
Yeah, for Cash. Poor Cash just gets passed around everywhere, wherever he goes.
That trade may force another roster move. I would think maybe there's a 40-man included here offensively. Number 1. Number 2, Shane Drowan's outing may force a roster move on this pitching staff.
Yeah.
I think that's the more likely. And I would watch for that tomorrow and or Friday for another pitcher brought in. Shane Drowan got this start, Tommy. I'm convinced of it because Robert Gasser's hurt.
Yeah, and now that you bring up this roster move, this just screams tomorrow or Friday, whenever this move happens, your boy's back in the bigs. Easton McGee.
Oh, man.
Right? I mean,
Easton Buster McGee.
Dude, Easton McGee is a Brewer come Friday. I'm almost positive to say that. Because they still have the 5-man rotation. The rain out just gave everyone like a day push back. Chad Patrick's still scheduled to go on Friday, and then normal scheduled programming with Sproat and Harrison to finish it out too. Like, they needed a bullpen arm from Jared Koenig's IL stint. Now it would be a righty that comes back. We've talked about how many lefties they have in that bullpen. Like Easton McGee, I'm going to put money on it if they have odds at the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Gosh darn it. We were just celebrating the Woodpeckers and putting up a bunch of runs and the league's best run differential and averaging a really big number by game. And then in the last 18 innings, they come up with a couple of runs and really, really look just out of sorts here. And, I heard on the game call, Grindle and Mauer talking about, the weather's cold here and it's, come on.
Right. I don't buy the weather at all either. If you want to join the show, 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. I know sometimes we love this. We hate this. On a loss like today, why not Beer Count Kenny start us off here on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line? What's up, Ken?
Gentlemen, a glorious day here as I sit basking in this 65-degree weather, taking in the sun. Oh, man, outstanding. Would like to have had a win. But let's put a positive spin on this, and that is simply this. They play 13.5 for the 12 games they played. They're going to do that a total of 13.5 times to get to 162 games. If, in fact, they win 8 of those 12 of these 13.5 runs, they're going to be at 105 plus wins, which will take me to my 99 plus. So there's a lot of positivity here.
Well, in the 3-3 road trip, that's not awful. That's not exactly awful. No.
a 500 road trip against Boston and KC early on, outdoors, the way they were playing and who was in the lineup. You have to look at that as well, because that's
that
really
lineup
crucial.
Last night, Kenny, that lineup last night, and again, I'll go back to it. You had no Contreras today. You have an off day tomorrow. I mean, Contreras would have been nice being in there, but that lineup last night, I could make the argument, and all health considered. So let's say everyone's healthy on the position player side. Two or three of those players aren't even in the big leagues, yet three of them were in the starting lineup last night.
Do you think some of that's driven, though, with the Contreras on the other side, that Murph is like, you know what, we got a punk on the other side that's threatening guys, talking crazy. He goes, you know what, we have a fabulous team. Yeah, we're going to run up against a couple of screwballs like this every now and then, but not like Wilson Contreras. He's one of these players that, when he started making threats like that, what really disturbs me is the mere fact that the MLB and Alex Cora did not suspend this guy. You can't make blatant threats.
I haven't read anything. Tommy, have you read something on
he hasn't,
MLB stepping in?
No, they never did. But Ken, date it back to the Machado incident. You can't let one guy be in a throw your whole game off during that either.
Well, you're 100% correct, and I will tell you, I'm going to date you back to my softball years. Yeah, when we were fabulous, we had a guy on any team that created a problem like that. They were going to get lit up big time. There was no way that was going to ever be tolerated. But you didn't want to have that happen necessarily last night with the Miz, because he was throwing a good game, right? But that's where you take one of your so-so guys out of the bullpen when you bring him in for the Miz. Yeah, and you just let him absolutely drill him.
Dude was on base 10 times in this series. 5 hits, 4 walks, and the hit batter.
Yep. Murph has to be able to get his team under control and say, guys, here's the deal. Don't worry about this one guy. We'll take care of that. Time will take care of that. But we're a better team than this. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we just didn't show it in these last 18 innings.
Yeah,
now,
I'll tell you what, this series coming up, this is huge in my book. Well, I need to see a little pick me up by this offense this weekend against the Nationals.
You're playing a bad Nationals team, a team that's struggling. So with that being the case, they have a chance at home to really blow things open, get things back on track, which they will. And it's all about winning series, guys. Yeah. We're very young into this season, so the team is doing incredibly well for being this young in and with a lot of new faces. So when people say, oh, yeah, Sonny Gray knows his team, no, he doesn't. Half the guys that he's pitched against weren't even in the damn lineup. So I look at things a little bit different. The glass is always half full. My beer, I just opened up a new one, so I'm good to go with that, boys. I'm out. You have a great afternoon. Let's get after it. Let's get after it soon.
There he is, Ken.
Wednesday afternoon, just tipping beers.
Love it. Love it. I want to get another one here and just get your thoughts on this from the Nicolay Law Talking text line, Tim. Not to blame Pat Murphy. This comes from the 262. But one thing I find somewhat odd is this season, 2 young starters making Brewers debuts, Sproat and Drowan, and they have Gary behind the dish as opposed to giving William, which he gives so much credit for managing games. It's just interesting that he went with Gary in both of those youngsters. Is that like now weird that it's been 2 guys that he's done that with?
You now look for their next starts. Now, if Drowan gets another one, I don't think he will anytime soon. But look for Sproat if he gets to start the next time. Look for Sanchez. If he's in there, then there's something there. We don't know. Maybe William Contreras is fighting something. We had no idea prior to yesterday's game that Bryce Terang had been fighting something. Now it's ankle tendonitis.
Yeah.
Does it not seem like it's the injury bug again this year? It does to me.
I'm not there yet.
Koenig, Churio, Vaughn, Terang.
Well, it's
these
definitely
are big names.
Definitely on the offensive side more than it was last year too, because remember it was all pitching that it seemed like Priester. You're not throwing him in there yet. Even on top of it, maybe it is an injury bug. I guess I haven't looked at it from that 30,000-foot view.
Henderson earlier in spring.
Well, I mean these are guys in AAA now. I want to if we focus on the big league club, yes, you have enough evidence already with the big league club that Churio, Vaughn not being a part of this team, that's huge. That's a big part of this team. And Priester, who knows? Then you wouldn't have guys like Sproat or Drowan getting these starts right here during the same stretch. But they've done more than stay afloat, Tim. They've impressed in those 12 games.
They have collectively. Yes, they have. But we have gone accustomed to expecting a little bit more and not 2 runs through 18 innings here. That's going to happen again, and I'm going to be just as displeased. So even though I know it's going to happen, it still just doesn't calm me down much. I mean, these guys, Hamilton's, Lockridge, Matos, Joey Ortiz coming back down just a little tickler.
He's now just Joey Ortiz. He loses the Ortani part of it until further notice.
yes, he does.
It's just Joey Ortiz.
Nicolay Law talking text line. You want to jump in here? 414-677-1250. That's 414-677-1250. You're listening to us around the state of Wisconsin. Brewers fall. You happen to be at work or whatever, or if you're listening to this on the podcast and it's now Thursday morning, Brewers fell in the 3rd and final game of the series and the 6th and final game of the 6-game road trip. 5-zip was the final, just 4 hits. Shane Drowan just sort of fell apart. And it goes back to walks. So if you account for walks in baseball, take a look at the walk ledger and look at how many walks a team gives up and how many runs that team scores. The other team scores. That draws those walks. You got to take those walks. And when you're given walks, it's almost like you're giving away a run. Maybe 3/4 of a run almost every time you walk a man. You can't walk guys in abundance like this. It's unacceptable. You can't do it. This is the big leagues. You need to not walk 3 guys in an inning. You can't throw 11 of 12 pitches are balls. You can't. I don't care if a team beats you up with the bat. That's fine. That's going to happen. You're giving away runs, not just base runners. You're giving away runs. Again, it's just an exercise that may open your eyes to what walks damage is going to give you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we get one more caller in before we got to go here? How about Marshall, Whitefish Bay? You're up next here on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. What's up, Marshall?
Well, good afternoon, guys. Hello, and at least the weather is a little nicer, as old beer counters said. Even though it's a little cooler on this side of town, though, it's the lake, but it's still better out. But hope you're doing good too today. My mind, of course, has been on 800 miles to the southeast of my alma mater. I'm very excited about the new coach we have for next year. So my baseball has been a little minimized by that here of late. And plus I worked the elections all day yesterday. So it's been, I didn't hear any of the game. I heard about Mizorowski did all right yesterday until that one inning. But as you guys have pointed out, we're just not hitting the baseball right now. And, but we need to get healthy. I mean, you can say it sounds like last season. I don't think we need to panic right now. A lot of this is short term. And I think we're doing all right at 8-4. I was hoping for 9-3, guys. I thought, man, let's get 4-2.
Would have been huge. Would have been huge. And you know, I would say this, that I'm griping about walks, and I'll never stop griping about walks. The walks they bother me. Once in a while you get a walk, you're pitching around a guy, there's 2 outs, nobody on. This guy's killed you. The splits look really good for the next hitter. That part I get. You're being a little careful with a hitter.
Yep.
When you start walking in multiples, I have a problem with that. Now, I cannot necessarily blame totally the pitching staff on this because you didn't score any runs. Last I checked, you had to score at least 1 run to have a chance to win a baseball game. However, you were down 3-zip in every one of these games in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, you were down 3-zip every single one of these games in Boston. Tone setting is a huge deal. It's a huge deal in baseball. You can't chase every single night.
Right. You're right, Tim. I agree with you totally. I am a stickler as well about good starts, not getting off to bad starts in any sport. This is particularly when you're on the road. I mean, because it just makes that mountain you got to climb that much higher, and it's you against the world, and it gets tough at times. But I agree with you on walks. I mean, some of those walks have been occurring when at 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts. I mean, that's just unacceptable. And I know that the pitchers that we have can do better than that. And I'm sure they would tell you that. And hopefully this stuff will get ironed out as the season moves along. But I wholeheartedly agree. I think this is our first series where we need to put the foot down, as I like to say, put the boot to the neck early against those Nationals and keep it on them. And let's sweep the series, but certainly do no worse than 2 out of 3. And yeah, it's just great to be back to warm weather sports, guys.
That's true. That's true, Marshall. Thank you for the call. Good luck to your UNC teams down there. If you look at when you trail in succession in the series, here's what happens. It allows a pitcher, Sonny Gray. Take a look at the 2-0, 2-1 counts to Brewer hitters. When Gray did fall behind, look at the 2-0, 2-1 breaking stuff. Look at the off-speed pitches. It allows him to do that because he has some cushion there. And I know baseball has changed over the years. It used to be 3-1 fastball, 2-0 fastball, 2-1 most times fastball. When you're leading, that pitcher has wiggle room to try and throw a breaking pitch up there. And and then you're going to flail and you're going to struggle a little bit. Brewers didn't really have many chances offensively in this game. Injuries playing a part. Where's your confidence level with this offense? Because mine is still high, despite what I've been griping about here. It's still high. However, this weekend is going to tell me a big story. I don't want to put obviously the whole season on the line on a series in April.
You know
against
what?
The Nationals.
I'm putting Luis Rengifo's season on the line this weekend.
You got to come up with something here.
Something, Luis.
Yeah. All right, we'll take a break here. You guys want to jump in? 414-677-1250 on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz, Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Networks. Well, the Brewers fall today in the third and final game of this 3-game set in Boston, and they fall in the final game of the 6-game road trip. However, it's 3-3, trying to stay positive here a little bit. They get shut out today, 5-0. Welcome back, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz, here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Here's some good news. Did you see that Brewers flash sale? There's 7 select games you can get in the stadium for $7.
What if you get those 7 select games, but the lineup is yesterday's lineup?
Ooh, yeah. Have an extra beer. 1 extra beer, and it'll all be better.
All right.
But well, that's good news. Check out brewers.com/tickets. So $7. We've talked about this in the past, the economics of one's household. I'm not here, and we're not here to kind of proclaim that we know where you're at financially. But we do hear a lot of times that these rich millionaires, and we're paying a whole bunch of money, we can't afford a ball game, and it's $7 to get into the park. So take advantage. And speaking of which, that's what I've been saying about the Milwaukee Bucks. Yeah, they're having a rough year. You can still go see your Bucks play pretty inexpensively. Anyway, we'll get back to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line at 414-677-1250. Pat Murphy coming up. We'll hear from him. I want to get his thoughts on how Shane Drowan did today. 2 2/3 of not good baseball, and a bunch of walks, and got himself into trouble. And there was some squeezing going on early. There was a little lucky swings of the bat for Boston, but self-induced kind of stuff going on for Shane Drowan. So let's get back to you guys. 414-677-1250. Just coming up also is going to be Rewind. We're going to rewind on this day in Brewers history, what the Brewers did. What year are we going back to, Tommy? Do you know yet?
Oh, yeah. I got it.
You got it?
I picked one in my lifetime, just to stick with brand right now, 2007.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
And that was just like, I thought of that one, and I like it. I like it a lot.
What did the Brewers do on April 8th, 2007?
Mm-hmm.
Now, had you picked 1997, I would have banned you from doing the bit today.
Oh, do you know what happened on 1997 off the top of your head?
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay. Well,
I got married that day.
Oh, nice. Okay.
No, that wasn't so nice.
Yeah, the brooms. Yeah, it was all good. It was a good day.
Well, now I can borrow her broom, but at that time.
I got it.
Let's go to Mr. Ferguson. You're up next here on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show.
Hi, Timmy.
What's
Tommy,
going on?
You're gonna learn something, Tommy. Here, Timmy likes to, I don't know. I guess I'll say overreact a bit,
or just react. How about just that's my reaction.
It's just a reaction to today.
Yes.
And sometimes my job is to come in and calm them down.
Yes, it is.
I'm having a smoke with you right now.
Okay.
Would everybody prefer a start like we had last year?
True.
Tim, do you remember my rant on the radio last year? Right around this time. This team is stacked. They're a little bitten by injuries right now. I mean, you're missing some key players, both in the rotation and on the field. It's going to get better. It's early season. Not everybody's, up to fight and trim, so to speak. I mean, notoriously slow starts for the Brewers aren't that big of a deal, historically speaking, anyway. These losses stink. Nobody likes to lose. Today was not the greatest showing in the world, but then again, Boston was due to break out. They're not as bad as their record would indicate. Mm-hmm. They were due to get right with somebody, and it just happened to be us. Home stand, that kind of thing. The little incident with the brushback flash hit by pitch probably lit a fire underneath
That's what
them.
bothers me too, Ferguson, is that it's seemingly since Contreras did that, things went for Boston after that.
Well, they motivated them and lit a fire under their butts a little bit. And, you had today was a really tough pitching matchup. Sonny Gray is Sonny Gray. Not everybody is going to pitch that way when you're down 2-0 and you're throwing breaking stuff. Sonny Gray can do that. Not everybody can.
Fergie, I can have you hold on through the break, but this is a hard break. We got to get out at a certain time here, and that is in about 18 seconds from right now. So stick around. Still a lot to get to here. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tommy Wortz, Tim Allen, 5-zip, Brewers fall. We'll be back on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Well, fans, the game is over. Welcome to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Bet above the rest. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Milwaukee. After the last pitch, you've made the switch for 21 seasons. We'll hear from the manager, the players, and the highlights from the game. It's time to talk about the game and the team with Tim Allen and Tommy Wortz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome back, everybody. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz, a 5-zip loss for the Crew today. It's a journey. It's a journey this season. The 26th championship season is a journey. It's just like the family vacations that I don't know if people still do that. Do you still do that? Do you still drive on vacations, or is everyone flying?
No, but I'm thinking of like, if it's going to be a summer of fun and entertainment and passion, you got to get to summer first.
Well, you do, and you have to expect things to come up on your journey. For example, the family vacation, a bunch of kids in a station wagon, mom and dad in front, dad with a cooler of old style while he's driving in 1977, and a flat tire on the pulling a pop-up camper thingy, and a flat tire just over the Illinois-Wisconsin border on a trip out west to Colorado. That's the journey. Sometimes the journey starts out a little rough. Sometimes it takes a few miles, and then you get a little rough spot. You've had rough days, Tommy. Brewers are going to have rough days. Well, in this case, it was 2 rough days. And it's funny that it lined up with when Wilson Contreras started as garbage.
Yeah.
That just irks me a little bit. That part of it, that gets me a little bit.
Well, and it also lined up with us not being able to talk about a 5-game winning streak right before it too, and we just had to come back to this.
That's true.
That also weighs in probably on how we feel.
That's true. We didn't get to do shows last week, but we're back on track here. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. I don't see any other issues in the foreseeable future here. So
no.
After the game, tune in along the network in Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. And we'll be talking Brewers baseball. Little rough one today, though, 5-zip. Here's little things that get me, too. And I know the game of baseball is sometimes the devil's in the details. What, the 7th inning? Was that the 7th where Gary Sanchez led off with a walk?
Yes.
Okay. He leads off with a 6-pitch walk, full count walk. Never swung the bat. So, okay. Looks a little like the pitcher's off a little bit. What does Rengifo do? Swings at the first pitch of the sequence. Don't you down 3, 4, 5 runs? Don't you have to see a pitch in that situation? I think you do.
Well, we were saying the same thing about Blake Perkins yesterday, Last night.
Yep.
When it was a 4-pitch walk, swings at the first pitch, double play, ends the game, right?
First pitch. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense. Should we get back to Mr. Ferguson?
Yeah,
here?
let's get. Hey, thanks for holding on, Nate. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, not a problem. Their approach at the plate today was suboptimal. The lineup yesterday and today's lineup is not something you're going to see on a regular basis either. I mean, you think about who we're down. I mean, it's not it's not insignificant. I mean, the upside is none of these are long-term injuries. I mean, I'd rather have dings like this at the beginning of the year than down the stretch, to be honest with you.
Well, and that being said, though, that's why it's such a great thing that they're 8-4 through this injury stretch.
And you got to remember, I mean, they went into Boston 8-2. Nobody's going to win 80% of the Dodgers are not going to win 80% of their games this year. So that was a little bit of a false expectation. I think they're going to play like that all the time.
Yeah,
win at that rate all the time. You're not going to have everybody on their A game 80% of the time.
For sure,
it's not going to happen. And they hit a little bit of a rough patch. It's on the road. Boston is a tough place to play, even if Boston's not playing really well. The ballpark's odd. It's quirky. The fans are always there. They're loud. and it's just intimidating. I mean, it's probably a whole lot like going into Yankee Stadium. Some of those venues where it's in and of itself, it's intimidating.
Mr. Ferguson, I know I wanted to just look. You had asked before we held you for a break. Would you rather have the start last year versus this year? Through 12 games last year, the Brewers were 7-5, and they just came off in their 12th game, putting up 17 runs against the Rockies. It wasn't that bad after 4 games last year.
Nobody last year, nobody was all that excited, even though they were where they were and what you just said. Everybody still had the foul taste in their mouth of that opening series.
Yeah.
This year is going to be a lot like last. This is basically the same team we saw last year. They're not going to magically all of a sudden get horrible. Are they going to win 97? No, probably not.
Agreed.
I don't think anybody in this division is going to get to that number. This is a tough division. You've got a lot of competition. The Pirates are better. The Reds are better. St. Louis is actually a baseball team. Who would have thought that going into this year? It's a tough division. This is going to be a slog all year long. You can't lose your cool over one series. I mean, it's a single series in a 162-game season.
Yeah.
A little perspective is necessary. Now, if I start seeing what I saw last year, and Tim, you can kind of attest to this, guys not running out ground balls, lazy plays on defense, people not being where they're supposed to be, just not heads not in the game. Yeah, then I'm going to turn into Tim, and Tim can tell you what that sounds like because it's not pretty. But, the fact of the matter is I'm not seeing that as of yet. I'm seeing guys scuffling a little bit at the plate early in the season, not unexpected. I mean,
No.
we all give Joey a hard time. Joey's hitting exactly the same right now.
267 coming into today.
Well, he's hitting the same as Sal Frelick, and nobody crabs about Sal Frelick.
Well, that's my boy. That's why.
Well, I understand that, but
by the way, your boy Jake Bowers there, Tommy, got pinch hit from Luis Matos.
Oh yeah, because
today.
Jake was the problem today with 4 hits, 4 hits in the whole lineup. Yeah, it was Jake Bowers who's the reason why they lost today, for sure.
What we'll probably see very soon is some of the young talent that's down in the minors will make their way up. There'll be bench pieces that replace guys like Matos and others. I don't know that any of them are quite ready for the show as of yet.
Fisher's my boy.
Well,
He's ready to go.
Cooper Pratt
people are talking about Pratt. If Pratt was ready, he'd already be up. Now they put him on the 40-man roster. They have every intention this year, I think, of bringing him up.
You'll see him. Yeah.
Yes. He'll be playing spot starts, probably at third, a little bit other places in the infield as a late inning replacement. But you didn't have your all-world second baseman today. That cost us, big time. That was an inning-ending double play that all of a sudden wasn't.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of death by 1,000 cuts in this series that you just can't get overextended on. I mean,
all right, Ferguson, I appreciate the conversation. We'll talk all season long. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Nicolay Law talking text line at 414-677-1250. Murphy on the way.
Yeah.
Rewind to 2007. Shane Drone, we're going to hear from him too. Wonder what his state of mind is.
Yeah, probably wasn't all that well. This guy's been hanging on for a while. I want to get him on here. Ken in River West, you're up on the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. How we doing, Ken?
Hey, Tim and Tommy. Well, today's game sucked, but I mainly called because I have 2 little historical tidbits I want to add to your discussion of the 1978 opening day win.
From last night, yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that discussion. One being, but before I get to that, actually, on one note on Larry Heisel, he's actually still really involved in the community here in Milwaukee. A couple years ago, when I was coaching down at Beckham Stapleton Little League in Milwaukee, he actually came to the ballpark and he talked to all the players on my team.
He is a good man. I'll give you a quick story too, and he will spend time with you. I was, I think you guys know this. I was into Tommy. You may not know this, but I was into taking pictures when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I saved up all my paper route money to go advance and bought. Joe Theismann was the ad campaign way back then for the Canon AE1 camera. So it was a 35 millimeter camera. When you got to that point, I was like, whoa, I'm like a photographer. And then I would buy all the chemicals and close up a closet and develop some pictures and blow them up. They were all black and white because I couldn't afford the color chemicals. It required different chemicals, but I would blow up pictures of, Hank Aaron and some of these guys. So I was getting autographs as a kid outside. Right across at County Stadium was the Brewer offices. And that's where some of the players would come out, and straight across from there was their parking lot. And we'd all kind of hang out there and try and get autographs. Well, anyway, I was talking with Larry Heisel about it, and he was a big shutterbug at that time too, and maybe he still is. But he was really into camera. He spent, that dude spent at least a half hour just standing by his car, talking about taking pictures and helping me out and giving me advice, and a great, great dude.
Yeah, definitely. I can vouch for that from the conversation I had with him a couple of years back. But on that note, 1978, first of all, that was the first win of the Brewers' first winning season, 1978. That was the first year they had a winning record.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and then that is also the first regular season game in which the Brewers wore the now iconic ball and glove logo on their cap.
This.
It was that off season. That off season, they had a design a logo contest for the rebrand, and it was a UW Eau Claire student, Tom Mindell, who designed the winning submission. There were like over 1,900 submissions, and he won. All he got was $2,000 though. He didn't get any kind of residuals or anything. But yeah, that's the first game they would have been wearing that ball and glove logo.
And just
on
to our
hat.
younger audience out listening to us throughout the state of Wisconsin, when you look at that logo, there is an M and a B in the glove. A lot of people don't get that.
Come on, blew a lot of minds.
I'm not kidding you, Tommy. I'm not
man.
kidding you. There are almost every year of this post-game show, 20 years plus in running, there's always been just occasionally, I just realized that the M and the B, Milwaukee Brewers, was in that logo.
Yep. So that's what I got for you guys. Thanks. Keep up the good work, and we'll talk this weekend.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Our post-gamer historian right there. I did not realize that.
Larry Heisel also third in MVP voting that year. He was a stud with the Brewers. Had a 5-WAR season during that. Hit 34 homers. Yeah,
big free agent signing for the Brewers. The biggest to that point, if not the first big free agent sign that the Brewers ever did.
Yeah,
really.
290 average, 906 OPS.
Yeah, he was dynamite. And then I want to say shoulder.
Yeah, injuries riddled him the rest of it. 26 games, 17 games, 27 games, 9 games in the 82 season.
That just crushed his career.
Yeah.
A former Twin prior to that.
What number do you wear with the Brewers?
Number 9.
Number 9, you got it.
Yeah. We're going to get to 2007 in just a little bit. We're going to get to Shane Drowan, who pitched today. Didn't pitch all that well.
No.
That's a tough spot, though. Tommy, is your major league debut in Boston's Fenway Park, your former team that drafted you. And did you know he a couple of records here. Number one, the ball strike ratio was the worst in franchise history for a start. But forget about that. Did you know he's the only player that his first strikeout was to the man he was traded for?
I wanted to know that. I said this on the Mason Crosby show today because I was talking about it, and I was like, there's got to be some nerd who knows that. Oh, God. Damn, Tim. I had it. I'm telling you, some nerd. I need like, there's going to be a Sarah Langs tweet out there on this, or Catronio, or someone's going to dive into this and just bring it up saying, like, first time that your first strikeout was against the player you were traded for.
Yes.
Someone's got to dig that up for me. I need
on
the
a
proof.
Day game.
On a Wednesday.
In April.
For your first outing, and he's a lefty. And the batter was
a lefty-righty.
And the batter was righty. And the other guy doesn't have 5 hits on the season.
I'm trying to think if Serpa struck out Collins at all.
Oh, but it wouldn't have been his first career strikeout anyway.
Not his first. No. But wow. Okay.
While throwing under 50% strikes.
While all doing that. Yes.
While making a silent H in your name too. Yeah, I got it.
All right. So I am mildly concerned, just a little bit, just to pop up here on the offense. And the reason I say that is because I do think they were overachieving without the likes or consistent likes of Vaughn and Churio and Terang and Frelick and all your main guys in the lineup. You know, you didn't have Contreras today. You could have. Now, I don't know. There might have been something he's fighting.
Well, DH him, throw Yelich in the outfield.
That's right. That's right. And on a game just prior to an off day, and on a game that's going to decide the series. I mean, there were a lot of stars that lined up here that, this scheduled day off, it was a day game after a night game. Sanchez caught last night, correct? Or was it Contreras? No,
I think it was Contreras because I think Yelich played the outfield yesterday.
Okay, gotcha.
Let me double check.
A day game after a night game could have played into Contreras sitting. The Terang thing, that is, predictable. That if it's on the fence here, sit him, suck up the 2 games without him.
Yeah,
he was out on last night's game and today, and then you get the off day, and he should be good to go on Friday.
So the outfield was Lockridge in left yesterday. Contreras was catching because Gary Sanchez played first
base. Yes.
Come on, who was the DH yesterday? Just remember who was. 1970.
Matos.
It was Matos yesterday. Yes.
I mean,
I already forgot he was on the team.
No, I understand. I totally understand. Putting a guy in there, getting him some reps. If you're on the team, you're going to play for Pat Murphy. That's just the way it is. And I understand that. And there's a method to that madness, and that is get him going. Because later on, best case scenario, he doesn't get a lot of at-bats, even if he's, given the fact that he's on the roster. But guys like, the tail end, the 4th and 5th outfielder, the backup infielder, you want them some reps here. So when you do need them later on to give a spell, they do have something under their belt in terms of playing time this year. So I understand that. But the injuries have forced pushing multiple of those guys into the lineup. That's what these injuries have forced.
Yes.
Could you have played Contreras today? Let's say he's healthy, 100% healthy. Probably should have in my book. Get the win. Do everything you can to get the win, because if you do get the win, well, then you're playing with house money. Maybe you can give them a blow on Friday. Just saying. All right, we'll get to Pat Murphy after the break, and still to come, Shane Drowan, Nicolay Law talking text line at 414-677-1250. Brewers fall today 5-0, 8-4. They've won 3 of their first 4 series. That's key here with that 8-4 mark, but they have lost 2 in a row, scoring 2 total runs between last night and today. I think they need a break. I think the off day tomorrow is coming in handy for this team. Reset, get back home, and go at the Nationals on Friday. There's Tommy Wortz, Tim Allen, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
gave the crew some breathing room? What play was it? It's time for the insurance run of the game, brought to you by G2 Insurance, your friend in insurance. On the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wortz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
So you have one homestand in the books. You have one road trip in the books here in the 26 championship season, and you have an 8-4 mark of those 4 series. You've won 3 of the 4, including a sweep to open up the season. All in all, not too bad. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz. Although the last couple of days, offense leaving something to be desired. Get back at it on Friday after the off day tomorrow. They're back home against the Nationals, finally a National League team, number 1. That doesn't seem to bother me as much as other people,
and then it's
Tommy.
just going to be the Blue Jays right after that again for everyone to get mad.
Right back to AL.
Yeah, right back.
Right. That doesn't seem to bother me. I mean, you got to play these guys at some point, and just whenever you play them, you play them. That's fine. You didn't have insurance today, but if you did, it would be G2 Insurance, your friend in insurance.
Yeah, running a business is like a championship run. One bad hit can take you out of the game. Sometimes all you need is just one hit if you're the Brewers. G2 Insurance Services specializes in keeping your business and reputation protected. They offer tailored solutions for restaurants, professional liability, and workers' comp. They represent top carriers like Erie to find the best combination of coverage and price. Get the defense line your business deserves. G2 Insurance Services in Brookfield. Online at g2ins.com. Your friend in insurance.
Okay, so they lose 5-0, and the day is you just want to punt today. That's what you want. At least that's what I want to do. You ever notice that in your life? You can slump too. You can slump. You can go into a 1 for 14, and seemingly you can't get out of it, and then all of a sudden, boom. Man, just had a great day today. I went 3 for 4 today. And then tomorrow you follow it up with a 2 for 4. I've had a rough one. You just klutzy, spilled the Mountain Dew coming into the show.
What do you describe a day as? Like you got hit by a pitch 4 times. Like your on base percentage is 1,000.
Yeah. But
it sucks getting
neutral.
there.
Yes, it does. It hurts.
It hurts, man.
I mean, Mountain Dew on electronics is not a friendly marriage. And then so I moved my guitar out of the way and laid it on the floor next to my workstation. And then coming back in after getting wet rags to wipe everything down, I kick my guitar. It's just I'm just going to sit home tonight and not do anything. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to do anything. I'm not going out. That sounds like just a safe way to play tonight.
Yeah. Based on what you got going on over here.
All right.
Do you want to get into the rewind?
Let's rewind it. Okay.
Yeah.
What did the Brewers do you have chosen 2007?
Yeah.
On this day, April 8th, 2007.
Yes. I went back. I wanted to pick something, I guess, that I don't know if I never remember it. Like, I don't remember the day by any means, but I remember the team. The Brewers took on the Chicago Cubs, game 6 of the year.
Okay. Can I interject here? Okay. What I remember 07.
Yeah.
I want to say a 22 and 12 start.
Oh gosh, Tim. I mean,
22, something like that.
Well, let me figure that out in a minute here.
And then was this the season that they, got a little confident and some conviction, and when they would sweep a team, they would travel with their what they dubbed as their sweep suits?
Oh, the sweep suits?
The sweep suits. I think that was 07.
Well, maybe Brian Schaus came up with that idea because that was someone pitching during this one.
What a great guy. Good dude.
The starting pitcher, Chris Capuano, who ended up having a long big league career, if you remember, because he went to the Dodgers, I believe, after
17 Tommy John surgery.
That's fair. He pitched in
3.
He came back to the Brewers, if you remember. 2016.
That's crazy.
He came back and pitched for the Brewers. He had pitched in 16 games that year as a reliever, actually, too.
Yep. Oh, what a great move to first. pickoff extraordinaire at first base.
Some
he was
other
an all-star. He was an all-star. Was a
06
18-game winner.
Nothing. Yeah, he did win 18 games
18,
in
yeah.
05, but that was not his all-star year. In 06, he was Brewers all-star, 11-12 to close out the year, and a 4.03 ERA. That was how rough 06 was. We remember that. Yeah. 2007 roster on April 8th. Looking back,
did they win?
They did win. Yes. Okay. Remember, that was a stipulation, right? We wanted to find something where they won, and that was just a random game I chose. And sure enough, they did win 9-4 over the Cubs in this one.
There you go.
And leading off, it was Ricky Weeks. Craig Counsell went 3 for 5. He batted second, played third base this game.
Okay. Now, was this the year that he went 0 for 45?
Oh gosh, Tim.
And
again,
this was the Verlander no-hitter year.
Oh yeah. I remember that. And I remember when that went down.
Yep.
On top of that, you had JJ Hardy was batting third, Prince Fielder in the cleanup spot. Jeff Jenkins had a big day. He had 3 runs driven in.
Ryan Braun, because he didn't get called up until May out in San Diego.
Correct. Yes. Gabe Gross was in right field.
I've got his batting gloves.
Yeah, I mean,
I do.
I of course you do. Of course you do. Damian Miller,
he was a quarterback at Auburn too.
Was the catcher of the game, Damian Miller, and then
the bobblehead with the mask.
Tony Gwynn in center field as well. Also, Chris Capuano had a hit. Like, that was back when pitchers hit. Remember that?
The olden days.
The good old days. We didn't know we left them. Francisco Cordero was on the Brewers closing it out. Derek Turnbow got the hold. Carlos Villanueva pitching in the game.
Yeah.
Some Cubs that you remember, Alfonso Soriano, Ryan Terrio, Derek Lee. Would turn out to be a Brewer, Aramis Ramirez.
I don't mind him.
And then very topical in the news of especially USA baseball at second base batting fifth, Mark DeRosa. Yeah.
Look at the O's. That was back in the O days. Soriano, Bacco, Zambrano, Terrio, Fontenot. Everything was O.
I get it. Churio now.
Now we're taking a few. Yes.
Joey-O. Just call him Joey-O.
I do. Joey O-E-O.
Yeah.
So there's your rewind to 2007. Ned Yost.
I didn't even think of the coolest part of this. I totally forgot about this. I didn't know this. I just found it now. But Michael Wortz pitched in the game.
Oh,
yeah. Like
your long lost uncle.
So we used to spell it that way. And then, like, in the 30s, they changed it, like W-U-E-R-T-Z. But I'm
we're radio. No one knows. You should have said Michael Wortz.
Yeah, but Wortz, that's my last name. And then that was never anything that, like, no one else had my last name ever in my life. And that was like, oh, this guy. I remember him because of that.
Used to carry around a baseball card of Tim Johnson, Brewers infielder, because it had my name on the card. I was like 11 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, why not?
That's me. If your name was actually a name of a ball player, would you have his cards?
If someone named Tommy Wortz played in Major League Baseball, he'd be my favorite player. Yes.
And you would have his card.
Unless he was a Cub, then I probably would feel that way. Yeah.
Have his baseball card always with you.
Ooh, like in my wallet? That's a little weird.
No,
I think that's a little weird.
No, I have.
You're talking to the Jake Bowers guy here. I'm calling that weird. I don't have a Jake Bowers card in my wallet.
2007, they had a 24-10. I think they were 24-10 through their first 34.
All right. Well, I'm going to look right now. They finished 83-79. It looks like they were actually pretty solid, like you said here. Game 34. As I go look, they were 24-10, Tim.
Yeah,
you are a sicko, dude. That is gross.
That was, I think, their high water mark, and it just sort of just stumbled after that a little bit. They kind of hung tough. Those are, Braun, you got to remember Ryan Braun wasn't early on with the organization or with the team. And then out in San Diego, they called him up in mid to late May, I want to say. That was when he was just outstanding at Cactus League play. And the problem is he was making so many errors in spring training games. He has admitted this, that third base and him just did not get along. He ended up having, I think that year, and again, he was called up in mid to late May.
Wasn't it like 20-something
26 errors, I
It was
believe.
26 errors. I just went and looked right here.
Okay.
Yeah. And he only played in 112 games. That's
crazy bad.
That's crazy bad. However, that was the year Prince Fielder hit 50 homers. Still a franchise record too in a season.
Was that the year? No, I think it was 9. When did Prince win the home run derby? I was in St.
No,
Louis.
that was 09. Yeah, that was 9. Because
I want to say 9.
It might have. He could have won it in 11 and 12, but he won it with the Tigers once too. Like, did he win
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he did win one with the Tigers.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe he won back-to-back years with different teams. I don't remember. I'll look it up.
And then they did it captain where he chose Ricky Weeks down in
ruined his swing
Arizona.
forever. Do you remember, because Hart and Fielder and Weeks were all in it the same year?
Yeah, and Arizona Diamondbacks fans did not like. I forget the name that they thought
Reynolds. Was it
deserving.
Mark Reynolds? Maybe at that time,
might have been. They thought someone else was more deserving, and Prince just chose Ricky.
Well, let's get to a caller here on the Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250 if you want to be a part of the show. Ron in Rome joining us here on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. What's up, Ron?
Hey, I love listening to you guys, especially after a loss. But,
why is that?
I'm happy after a win. I don't really need it, but I need to blow off some steam after a loss.
Okay.
Especially when they are pinch hitting mottos.
Ooh,
but
wow.
yeah. But Tim, the reason I called was you sounded a little befuddled by, why would it annoy people that when we play the American League? And the reason I don't like all this interleague play, and I really don't like when they cut down the division play, is I'm 70. When I was a kid, I grew up in New York. So in 1964, there were 10 teams in each league.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't pay much attention to the National League because I was a Yankees fan. So I only had to know about 10 teams. We all collected baseball cards. I knew almost every player's stats, just I had to memorize just from playing games with the cards and stuff. And the teams, they weren't changing guys constantly. Half the time, I don't know who's on the Brewers. I mean, up and down. And just so especially, at least I would know the Cubs and the Pirates and the Reds. Now, I don't know anybody, really. Everybody's changing teams and all these young guys.
Yeah, but Ron, it's got to be better than playing the Pirates 20 times a year.
I love when Bob Uecker was the announcer, which the new announcers could never get away with it. It was great when we played the Pirates. I remember one time he was saying the Pirates were losing like 17-2, and he was like, Pirates fans are jumping off the bridge into the creek outside Miller Field. And I'm like, oh my God, anybody else, all the mental health associations would be, getting down on, but they're like, it's just Uecker being Uecker.
Gotta be careful, Ron. It's a landmine out there.
Yeah. So when we were killing people, that's when, or even if we were losing, that's when you got the best Uecker stories and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I miss that so much, man. I think we all miss them. But okay, all right, Ron. Thanks for the call. We'll talk again. The interleague play, as they say, I think has pros and cons to it. And I think part of the pro would be that that every other year you're going to see a team at American Family Field. You're going to see a team, whoever it is, in all of baseball. Don't we all like that a little bit? I don't want to tell you what you like or not.
Well, I do think it is helpful to see that you always can watch your team play against superstars across the league, right?
That's right.
But there was something about June in years past where it's like, oh, June, this is like all teams we never see them play, right? Because it used to be interleague was June growing up for me at least. And you'd be like, wow, every 4 years, the Yankees, like the spectacle of the Yankees coming to, or maybe it was even every Yeah, no, it'd be like every 6 years they would come to Milwaukee, right? Because it's every
Yeah.
3 years with each division. But like that was something a little special. I get that, but now alternatively, like Aaron Judge is going to come to Milwaukee every other year, no matter what.
And for example, if you've never seen Fenway Park, well, now you know. What do you know? When's the next time the Brewers are going to be at Fenway?
Right.
You know it's 2028. You can start planning on that. So that part of it I do like. Now, the interleague play of universal DH, I'm still not a big fan of that.
Oh, come on.
I still want to see baseball players play the game
You
of
can't
baseball.
be pro ABS and then anti DH.
They're anti-DH.
No, that's not how that works. That's two completely opposite ends of the spectrum takes.
Anti-DH because there's strategy involved when a pitcher is playing offensively. There's a strategy of when he comes out.
You are a confused old man.
When to do a double switch. Hell, back in the early 90s and 80s, I didn't even know what a double switch was.
No. You had a different double switch in the 80s. Come on.
Oh,
We
had a lot of fun with double switches every weekend in the 80s. I'll tell you that. All right, we'll take a break here. Still to come. Still a ways to go here, so we've got plenty of time for you. 414-677-1250 on the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz, 5-zip Brewers fall. We'll be right back on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Welcome back. It is the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show. You can hear it after most all games after this weekend.
We're batting lower than Joey Ortiz on that commitment right now.
Oh, we're going to come back.
Yeah,
we're coming back.
We're just trying to go 4 for 4 every day now.
Live in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz. After a Brewers 5-zip loss, they lose the game. They lose the series. They didn't lose, however, the road trip. 3-3, and I think a lot of teams would take that.
I would take
it. Try and get healthier. I think that we're seeing now the offense a little bit more of having an impact by injury. So hopefully they can bounce back starting Friday against the Nationals and go from there. Still to come, Pat Murphy, Shane Drowan. I wished he had a better major league debut. His comments. Also, just a news and note here. Thoughts and prayers to Davey Lopes' family, former Brewers manager. Early 2000s was the manager transitioning from County Stadium to then Miller Park. 80 years old, Davey Lopes, the former LA Dodger and Brewers manager. 80. Oh, if I can get to 80.
Oh, a hell of a run, yeah.
That would be a good run. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250 is where we find Adam. He felt the need to call the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. What's up, Adam?
Well, Tim, I always feel the need to call. It's a yearning that I can't shake.
It's Big Rig. What's going on?
It is. Well, a couple things. I want to talk on a couple of topics that you brought up throughout the show, and I'll get to those in a second. But about today's game, I just want to say, I know at the top of the show you guys are talking about how the offense looked bad, and you guys have hit on it a little bit about getting healthy. But I think we're seeing now that while we have a good team and a good offense, especially early in the season, you can only take so many losses of key players in that offense before it really starts to show. Obviously, cold conditions today. Nobody wanted to play Crochet yesterday. You started all the righties who were, the lesser half of your offense on your bench anyway. Mm-hmm. But you lose Churio, you lose Vaughn, and then you lose Terang for a couple of games, and it really shows we need our guys in there. And obviously everybody needs to be healthy to be the most effective. But one thing I wanted to talk about was the road trip. I just got back from a road trip, Tim. We drove down to the Gulf in Alabama.
Sweet.
We stayed on a place called Dauphin Island. So the road trip still exists. I know a bunch of families that drove this year.
Okay,
unfortunately, right during super high gas prices, so that wasn't fun. But other than that, it was a great experience. Kentucky remains the worst state in the union because I've had a couple of bad experiences there. I lost a shoe there this year, but that's neither here nor there. And the other thing I want to talk about was you guys mentioned carrying around baseball cards and doing that kind of a thing. I don't carry it with me, but I am actually on a Topps card.
You are. Yes, you are.
I've always thought it was kind of neat. So I do have a copy of that I keep around. Just sure happenstance that I was on there, and I'm gonna get the actual player who's on that card to sign a copy of it for me. But that hasn't happened yet either. So that'll happen at one point though.
It's back when you were doing the media days, and this you can follow Brewer Nation on Twitter to catch Adam's stuff. It's really good stuff. But he was part of the press pool, and someone was getting interviewed or whatever. We call it a certain phrase, which I can't say on the air.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a press gathering.
Yep.
A gaggle of reporters, and someone
scrum is the clean term.
There we go. Yeah, and somebody snapped a MLB or a Topps photographer snapped a picture. He ended up on a baseball card.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That is crazy cool. And then it turns out that a former colleague of ours is on a Brett Phillips card. Joe Zanzola, who's good, close friend of mine, friend of ours.
Players, obviously Joe Zanzola is on a Brett Phillips card, right? like obvious. Like he's not going to be in the crowd on a Yelich card. He's not going to be in the crowd on a Fielder card. It is Brett Phillips. That is awesome, Joe. Yes,
Virgin
I love that.
Joe, I used to call him. Virgin Joseph.
Oh gosh, love you, Joe.
All right, Adam, great catching up, man. We'll talk soon.
Okay, talk to you soon.
All right,
there he is. I just want to go back to the Nicolay Law Talking text line because now it's funny to me. From the 920, this is about 40 minutes ago. Bowers is not good. Adequate to good bench player. Everyday player, not a chance. He's batting 189 with 10 Ks. And then I didn't acknowledge it at the time. So then 30 minutes later, he says, DH sucks and so does Bowers.
I really got into
it's great.
The strategy around the pitcher hitting. The strategy of
the Brewers also had the best hitting pitchers. That also made it fun.
Well, and they had the best manager in terms of strategy that handled it, and that's what Craig Counsell's biggest asset was. His biggest asset was how he handled that double switch and pinch hitting and when to take a pitcher out, a starting pitcher, when to – man, I miss that. I don't miss Counsell, but I miss that part of it. All right, we'll take a break here. Speaking of managers, Pat Murphy on the other side after a 5-zip loss. Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show live in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Tommy Wortz, Tim Allen, talking some Brewers baseball today.
over. Welcome to the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Bet above the rest. Only at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Milwaukee. After the last pitch, you've made the switch for 21 seasons. We'll hear from the manager, the players, and the highlights from the game. It's time to talk about the game and the team with Tim Allen and Tommy Wortz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Love talking Brewers baseball with you guys, and this is a blast. I gotta say, despite the loss today, 5-0, as well as the first series loss of the 2026 championship season, I really, really enjoyed talking Brewers baseball, going back to 2007 or 1978 or whatever it might be. I dig it. I do. And welcome back, Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz. And again, after a 5-0 loss, we're going to hear from manager Pat Murphy coming up. Shane Drowan, he was involved in the Caleb Durbin deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to change. That trademark of the Caleb Durbin deal, that's going to be the Kyle Harrison deal.
Oh, I like that.
Soon. Because I if there's, I don't know, there's different barometers of how I would measure the involvement.
I was calling it the Anthony Siegler deal before.
The Comp B pick deal. Yes. But I measure it from the girlfriend or my sisters. And whenever they will say, who is this guy? That means there's still work to do
Mm-hmm.
in terms of recognition. And who is Mato? What? I don't even know these guys. Okay, give them time. But you're going to, over the course of time, I think Brewer fans are going to know Kyle Harrison. It's going to be the Kyle Harrison deal. Now, Shane Drowan was involved in this deal, and I love the deal from the start. I know that goes against the grain a little bit for a lot of Brewers fans. They did like Caleb Durbin, and he has scuffled somewhat in Boston. My son was telling me about one of the announcers. He saw a clip that says, Caleb Durbin, he's a utility man at best, and even one of the Boston announcers. Speaking of which, we mentioned, I forgot to tell you this, Tommy Wortz. I mentioned Will Middlebrooks the other day.
Yeah.
He was the on the flagship Josh Mauer's interview today.
No way.
I'm not kidding. He's an analyst for the Red Sox.
What the hell, dude? I mean,
Will Middlebrooks. But he didn't say, like, is it TV? Is it radio? What is it?
I'm on it.
He just said a Boston Red Sox analyst. But, his name was brought up, I want to say Monday night.
Oh, he's a WEEI guy.
He is an EEI dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Gotcha.
Good for him.
All right. My son told me that I ruined his career. I jinxed him with my interview. Really fun interview, and then he got hurt like that day.
Yeah,
maybe the next day or something.
He had a 111 average with Milwaukee. He got 3 hits and 31 ABs.
Yeah, it wasn't a big cup of coffee in Milwaukee. But okay, so Shane Drowan involved in that Durbin deal, and he had his major league debut today. I'm not convinced, given full health of Logan Henderson throughout spring camp, given full health of lately Robert Gasser, I'm not convinced Shane Drowan would have started today. Tommy, are you?
Yeah, probably not if the Gasser injury wasn't something of concern. But again, like, why use Logan Henderson on that 27-man spot and not try Drowan on that 27-man spot then or something, and work it out that way from the doubleheader in KC.
And maybe have Henderson start today.
Henderson starts today. Drowan is your 27th man, right?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Young arm like Shane Drowan. They don't all just burst onto the scene like Jacob Mizorowski or Skeens or, whoever it might be. Kyle Harrison, burst onto the scene. One of the best. I don't know. I'm kidding. Sort of. But let's hear from Shane Drowan. This should be interesting to listen to as He got his first major league start. He's now in the big leagues, on the books. There's something to be said about that. But here's the Brewers left-hander.
Just considering all the conditions, kind of what did you make of your start today?
Not great. Definitely needed better fastball command, but I felt like I did some good things. There's some good cutters, some good breaking balls. Just need to be around the zone a little bit more.
A lot of them look like they were right on the edge of the zone.
Yeah, there were some calls that were pretty close, but what are you gonna do? Gotta just keep attacking the zone.
Is it tough gripping the ball?
Yeah, I had some trouble today with the balls. Not rubbed up too well, but that's just part of it. You gotta just power through it and get the job done.
Is that what you chalk some of the misses and the walks up to, or is it something that mechanically?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, maybe a couple. Just sliding out of the hand a little bit earlier than expected, but it's not the first time I've dealt with it, so it's not an excuse.
Disappointment is there, obviously. But what do you take away on the other side of it?
Got it over with. Got through the first one. I feel like there's just a lot of things to build on, to work on. So, it just gives you a list of things to work on throughout the week and stuff, and just be better next time.
Did you take anything away from just how you were able to get through it, right, and kind of limit damage?
Yeah, not too much hard contact, so that's good. When we were putting it in the zone, they were in pretty good spots. But yeah, it's just about consistently being in the zone more.
Can you tell us about the day? I know there's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Did you take a moment to look around? Did you do anything like that, or were you locked in?
Yeah, I did. When I started to warm up, I kind of took a minute just to take it in, especially just being at Fenway, a park like this. But yeah, once the warm-ups, once I got into the throw-in, I was just pretty locked in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is Shane Drowan after his major league debut. If the Brewers did not have an off day tomorrow, I think it would probably warrant a roster move.
Yeah, I still think it's probably coming.
Could be coming on Friday, or they're making arrangements now, because that's 63 pitches he threw today. And with the overworked bullpen a little bit, because it is overworked, but that's really not a new thing. Kind of got things lined back up last night and today. So the bullpen is in much, much better shape, and the off day tomorrow. They should be full go.
Well, and that'll be a decision for the manager, Pat Murphy.
The game is over, and it's time to hear from the skipper on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wortz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It looked like Drill and some of those misses were
close,
right on the border.
Yeah, umpire was tight. He was tight. He did a good job, but I think it puts you in a tough spot where he's behind the count. I'm proud of him. I think he did a lot of good things as a debut. Here, freezing cold, couldn't get the grip on the baseball in the beginning. I don't know that he'll admit that to you, but we were trying to give him ways to get a little better grip. Anyway, I thought he did some good things, but you can't walk. How many do you walk? 5 or 4? Yeah, you can't walk 4 and 2 2/3. And although we limited the damage, they hit a ball in the infield. It scored runs. So the one they hit out of the infield to score the third run was sacrifice fly. So, yeah, a lot of good things. But it's a cold night. We weren't sharp defensively. 3 or 4 plays that we didn't make ended up creating runs. Now, they might have been tough plays, but the bunt, the lack of communication, play at second base where he tried to reach and tag the guy is an easy flip, double play. He hasn't played much second this year. And the other play at second that they gave a hit to, but maybe could have been made. That's the game, that defense. So not sharp on defense, but again, guys, 4 of our top 6 hitters are not playing. Contreras and Terang, Vaughn and Churio. You got 4 of your top 6 not playing. you know you're going to be in for it, and you got to make those plays defensively, keep yourself close. And credit to Sonny Gray. I mean, you know, there's a reason a guy earns $30 million a year. There's a reason that he can still pitch. He really can pitch. He made pitches at big times. Didn't give in. Yeah.
Might be kind of tricky to know exactly what went wrong with Drone, considering you just haven't seen him.
Yeah, I know he's better than that. You know, he's got a good breaking ball. He didn't really get to it because of that, but the walks is what did him in, and defense that was not our normal sharp defense.
Saying you couldn't get to the breaking ball because of the field?
Yeah.
What do you do to try to combat that?
Well, I mean, when it's freezing cold and stuff like that, it's hard. I know. I'll just leave it at that.
What do you want him to take away from the first experience? Careful. What do you want him to just like learn and take away from this?
Exactly. That's what it is. It's a learning experience. I've been out there. I got through it. Okay, that's my debut. It wasn't 5 innings of shutout, but it very easily could have been 4 innings of shutout. Very easily. Didn't get some calls. Yeah. I want him to learn that, hey, there's a real fine line between good and great, and this could have been great.
I feel like it's starting to feel like you're missing some bats now after you survived pretty well for a couple of weeks.
Last 2 days have been rough. I mean, when you miss 4 of your top, I mean, just think of other teams around. If you miss 4 of your top guys, it's going to make it tough on you. So. But the guys, you know, it's not that they didn't try. That's for sure.
Still look like Terrain will be back Friday.
I sure hope so.
What about Churio? This checkup he has tomorrow. Is there a chance for him to move quickly after that?
I would think fairly quickly. You don't want to disadvantage the kid, but if they think it's healed, 90-some% healed, they think they'll move ahead, hopefully. That's the case. I think William needed that day, and we'll get hopefully Terang and him back, and Churio forthcoming, and then Vaughn is probably 3 or 4 weeks away.
Wait a second. Did I miss something? Did he just say we're hoping to get Contreras and Terang back?
Well, the Terang we know, right?
Right.
The Contreras, I don't think we have any reporting on any sort of injury from there right now.
Contreras needed a day, and hopefully we get Contreras and Terang back. Maybe there's something, like we said an hour and a half ago. Contreras not in the lineup. We don't know all the time all the information. Maybe he's fighting something. That could be, Tommy. That could be.
We'll see. What
do you think Pat Murphy's record is as a major league manager? I'll give you the answer after the break here as the Brewers fall 5-0. Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tommy Wortz, Tim Allen, live here in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Final couple of minutes here on the Potawatomi Sportsbook postgame show. Tim Allen, Tommy Wortz, live here in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios after a 5-zip Brewers loss. Can't win them all, but you can look better at times when losing. That'd be nice. This was just less than 24 hours. Not been a pretty sight for the Milwaukee Brewers compared to the first 10 games. First 10, yeah, we're okay with that. On a couple of losses, yeah, we're fine. You lost one of the Tampa games, 3-2? That was right there. Even last night, a 3-2 loss. Yeah. But you had 3 hits in the game, and that was it. And today you mustered up 4. You've gotten 7 hits and 2 runs in the last 2 days. That's not a good thing. Hey, Pat Murphy's managerial record, this surprised me a tick, Tommy. How many games over 500 do you think Murphy is?
Okay, so what were they last year? They won 97 and 65. That puts them, I'm going to say he's 40 games above 500.
190 and 134.
Wow. So what is that, 55 around there?
44, 54, 64, 74, 84. Yeah, 56 games over 500 coming into this season. Now add another 4.
60 games?
60 games over 500 in 2+ years.
Yeah, he's been dynamite, man.
Man, I don't know if too many people would have thought that. I mean, big picture. This is the big view.
What was his record with the Padres? Is that what counts too?
That's with the Brewers. Overall, 232 and 188. Interim manager in 2015 to finish out that season with the Padres. So I don't want to do that, man.
No, I don't care anymore. Just like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. 2-time manager of the year, 60 games over 500, and seems to have just some sort of, I don't know if it's necessarily, well, it's both. You would have to think it's both the front office and that combo with Murphy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Matt Arnold deserves some credit, executive of the year, back-to-back years too, right?
Absolutely. And whether or not that they have cracked any sort of code in terms of the type of player or the projections that they see in players, I don't know if that code has necessarily been cracked by the Brewers, but it really seems like it has. When you compare it to money, that you can definitely put your finger on, and you can point around the league and say, well, how come they use about the same amount of money, same resources, but they don't get these types of results? So what would it be then? Would it be the front office, or would it be more Murph as to how to handle a projectionable player? I don't. It's probably both. I mean, you would have to assume it's both, because some players are just not going to work out. They're going to miss in what Murph calls the ivory tower.
Yeah.
They're going to miss. It wasn't that long ago that who's the Thomas kid that was drafted way up there?
Thomas kid.
Eric?
I was thinking of Corey Ray even right there when he was there, but something Ethan Thomas? Or
No,
something like
Eric, maybe. Who's their real high, first, second, and not that long ago. An international sign, a Hedbert Perez, who's no longer with the organization. I mean, he was supposed to be the Jackson Churio before Jackson Churio. I think they signed him as a 16-year-old.
Eric Brown.
Yeah,
I was mixing up. I was like, Connor Thomas
Wow.
was on the team last year for a second.
That's
You
true.
remember him? Yeah.
But Eric Brown. So you're going to miss on a few, and I'm not saying Brown is a total miss at this point. Who knows where he goes with his career? But you have to assume that's a huge. The Sal Freliks and Bryce Terangs. These are not misses. And it's been pretty consistent in this. The Andrew Fishers, it doesn't look like that's a miss. It doesn't look as if Cooper Pratt's a miss. It doesn't look like a lot of these guys are misses. making trades on at the same time. And I know I've been harping about Coleman Crow, but I mean, you could see him soon. You're probably going to see him soon.
Yeah, he's a 40-man guy as well. Plus, on top of that, Logan Henderson isn't up here for the last time. Someone like that. They're going to have a bunch of these dudes that they're going to be jumping up and down throughout the entire. I promise you, like I would be shocked if Easton McGee's not a Brewer on Friday. I would be so shocked.
Yeah, no, you might be right. But it does beg the question about how much of this is truly Pat Murphy. Just on a nightly basis. I know there's moving parts here. He had said a couple of years ago that, overworked the bullpen. I got to worry about tonight. And if they bring in reinforcements or more guys, I'll just deal with it then. But right now, I'm dealing with it now. I wonder, I don't know. I'm leaning toward Murph, and you guys know I'm a big Pat Murphy fan. I don't agree with a lot of what he does, but that's going to happen to any manager. Been pretty consistent with that, Tommy, in 20 years of doing this show. There isn't a manager that ever was or ever will be on this planet that I will agree with everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the beautiful thing about baseball, is that it can be debated and you can go. And, the final thing on that note would be fans can be right over a manager. Just remember that. It doesn't mean across the board that every opinion you have is wrong because Pat Murphy or any other manager didn't want to do it that way. You can be right on with an assessment. And a lot of times you won't hear a manager say, well, I was wrong on that one. It didn't work out. David Stern stepped up to the podium the one time and said, Scopes, that one's on me. Bad deal.
Mm-hmm.
Literally said, that's on me, bad deal. You don't hear that really that much in and around the game of baseball, but Pat Murphy, I'm not going to agree with everything, but I'm a big Pat Murphy fan. I would lean toward the lion's share of a chunk of this success is because of Murph.
Absolutely it is.
Man. And we have another 3+ years with him?
Yeah. Remember, signed his extension. Were we live on air, right? It was a hot stove show, right, when it happened, and now you get a chance to right the ship. You get the day off tomorrow, and then the Nationals right after coming into town.
Nationals 7:10 first pitch on Friday night, game 1 of a 3-game series.
6:10
I'm
first
sorry,
pitch. Yep. Or 6:40, 6:10, 1:10. Those are the 3 games.
Okay. And so is that Chad Patrick? Has that been announced?
That's what it's. Patrick Sproat and Harrison as listed on MLB.com for the Brewers probables.
That's 2 of 3. Come on. 2 of 3, you're going to win. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, if Sproat gets a win, we'll be way ahead of the game at this part, right?
Yeah, could be. All right. We'll see you on Friday night. Tommy will have the leadoff show beginning at
5 o'clock, hour and a half.
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
All right. Hour and a half pregame show with the leadoff show, and then after the last pitch, make the switch. Postgame show with Potawatomi Sportsbook. We'll be live in the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios. Thanks to Tommy Wortz. Thanks for hanging out. And thanks to Steve Sparky Pfeiffer for hightailing out of here and letting us talk Brewers baseball. That is music to my ears and hopefully yours too. We'll see you on Friday night after game 1 against the Nationals. And remember, as always, smile, Wisconsin. Bob Uecker is smiling back.